I find you guilty, criminal contempt, 30 days in the county jail.
To talk more about this case, we are on the phone with Judge Alex Ferrer. You know him from his syndicated court show, Judge Alex, which plays on our sister station, My 20. Good morning again, Judge.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Glad you're here this morning to talk to us. Tell us about this. Do you find this to be an unusual case? Because I know you've seen it just about all in your own courtroom.
Well, yeah. I actually, on the criminal court bench, I've had that happen to me, and I've held people in contempt for disrespecting the courtroom. And you have to learn, she's a young girl. She obviously was on something, it appeared. There's certain behavior that you can get away with in different places. In a courtroom, you really can't get away with anything because the judge has to maintain control of the courtroom. They're not going to let you be disrespectful. You're going to pay a price. So even if the appellate court says, you know what, the judge should have not held her in contempt because he didn't follow specific rules that we have for holding them in contempt, she will serve the 30 days unless he decides on his own to vacate it as a favor to her. Now, I have done that as a judge. I've held somebody in contempt because they've been in a room full of other defendants, and I wanted to make the message very clear. You don't do this in my courtroom. And the next day, I brought him back and said, all right, I think you probably have thought about it since then, so I'll vacate the contempt. But I don't know what he's going to do.
Well, a lot of our Facebook fans have been talking about this, and they're upset because they say, okay, we know she was out of line. We agree. But taxpayers should not have to pay for her to spend 30 days in jail. What's your thought about that? Was that just too stiff of a sentence and a fine if he doesn't reverse it?
No, I don't think so. I think that the administration of justice requires that people be respectful in court, and it's a slippery slope. If one defendant gets away with it, then all the others think they can do it, and then you have a hard time really administering justice and having trials when defendants are just flipping everybody off. There's a lot of them that don't have a lot to lose. So I think it's a lesson worth teaching. Now, would I have done it in this case? I probably would have gone a different path because, all she did was, she was obviously on something. All she did was say adios. I didn't think it was offensive, and that was not reasons to raise the bond. But Rodriguez-Chamon, I know him. He's a good judge. He just probably was not in a good mood with her flip behavior throughout the whole hearing.
Well, she's a very pretty young lady, so I'm sure she's used to getting by with more than what she got by with in this moment. Judge, I know, as we talked about earlier, you've probably seen it all. Do you mind sharing some interesting or crazy things that have happened in your courtroom that you just truly couldn't believe, and you're like, all right, I'm going to take you down. You're going to have to pay for that one.
Well, I do. I get people being disrespectful in my courtroom now as well. When you're disrespectful to a judge, there's several options that can happen. He can hold you in contempt, throw you in jail like this lady here. He can strike your pleadings, in which case you lose your case because that default gets entered against you. He can throw you out of the courtroom. In my life, I've done every single one of those. Most of the time, I will throw people out of my courtroom. I just don't put up with any garbage in my courtroom. I have a good sense of humor, and I will joke with everybody. But when it crosses the line and starts becoming disrespectful, they're out of there. And on our show, we kind of have everything.
Earlier this morning, Judge, we showed this guy, I think it was a Miami courtroom, and he was actually rapping every single answer. He wouldn't talk, he would rap. And when you watch it, you can't help but kind of giggle because he was rhyming. I mean, he was very talented. But would you consider that disrespectful? Would that upset you if you were trying to have a serious conversation with someone? Because the guy had actually, I think, had hurt his girlfriend or something. It was a serious reason to be there.
Yeah, on serious cases, I really don't like a lot of game playing. I guess it really depends on the circumstances. As I said, I have a good sense of humor, but, when you're dealing with a victim who's been injured, the last thing they want to see is the guy who injured them in court joking around and the judge and the jury and the prosecutors laughing along. It's kind of like with DUIs. Sometimes drunks can be very funny, but when you realize that they could have killed somebody or they actually did kill somebody, there's really nothing funny to it. So I probably, if it were my courtroom on television, I'd give them a little more leeway because, let's face it, that's entertaining. In my courtroom in the state courthouse, I'd probably shut it down.
All right, Judge Alex, great to talk to you this morning. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys.